and welcome to Laura's Stamp Pad. Today I'm going to show you how you can get over 70 greeting cards out of one pack of 6x6 Designer Series paper stack. I used the Pretty Petals Designer Series paper stack for all of my cards, and you can see I have oodles of designs, man cards, female cards, birthday, wedding, anniversary, sympathy, just a little bit of everything on all of these. So you can really get a large array of cards out of just one Designer Series paper stack. This would be fabulous to create to have on hand or even to give as a gift. And it's so much fun. So I will show you each of these individually with all of the measurements and everything, but each of them uses one of the sheets in the Designer Series paper stack. And so then you get to actually play with all of the colors. And the other fabulous thing about it is you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of different colors and ideas and things that you're going to use, because all of the colors are actually listed on the front of the Designer Series paper stack. So it says right here, it says all of the colors that are listed and used in this Designer Series paper stack. So I started by pulling out all of those colors, and then I just kind of played along with it and started creating all of these different cards. And then a few of the cards, of course, I added in my own colors that weren't in all of these. For example, this one here, I added in the red and the yellow. But I just had so much fun creating all of these cards for all different occasions and for all different types of people as well. And it was so much fun. And who wouldn't love to have over 70 cards out of one Designer Series paper stack? Love, love, love it. Of course, you'll notice my background today is in support of breast cancer awareness because it is October, and so I am doing all of my videos this month in pink. I am going to switch over back to the black for showing you all of these cards individually, just so that the contrast is much easier for you to see everything. But let's get started on all of these beautiful cards. Okay, so let's get started with our first card. This first one here actually uses this piece of paper, so it's sort of, well actually I think it probably would look better there. So it's like a little flower in like a diamond shape, and then of course on the back side is these blue scallops. So I actually used both of those in this card. I did a piece of the flowers on one side, and this piece measures 2 inches by 5 inches. And then this other opposite side is 3 by 2 inches. So you can actually get one of the 2 by 5 and 3 of the 3 by 2 out of one sheet. But then you can always do more of the 2 by 5s in the next sheet, so you can still get quite a few cards out of this one. I used the Blessed by God stamp set for this on a scallop circle there, and then the Petite Petals punch, and you can see that embossed background I did with the elegant dots. So super fabulous there. Our next card uses this here, so it's actually the mint macaron stripes, diagonal stripes, and then on the back side is like a honeycomb in black. And this is the card. So this card actually uses a piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So you can get one of these pieces for this card out of one piece of the Designer Series paper, and so the rest you can use for scraps. I'll let you know how you can use those scraps at the end. I used the itty bitty accents for those adorable little hearts. I did like one little heart there overlapping with another one with a little pearl. So I thought it looked kind of like a little boy heart and a little girl heart. How cute is that? This would be perfect for a wedding or anniversary card. I used the Silver Baker's twine here that I just kind of went diagonal on that and then popped up the Designer Series paper with dimensionals so that there would be room for that ribbon underneath. And then I used the Blessed by God greeting and the lots of labels framelets to do those little layers there. Our next one uses this fabulous butterfly pattern. So the butterflies kind of go in all different directions there. So it doesn't really matter which way is up and which way is down. And then on the back side we have those beautiful blue stripes in Pacific Point, so it would make a great man card. But I went with the butterflies there. So here, I'll actually leave it like that so you can see the contrast much better. So for this card I used a piece of Designer Series paper measuring 2 inches by 5 1/2. So you can get 3 of these out of just one piece. And then I just used some scraps and the Papillon Potpourri stamp set to get those butterflies, and then use the coordinating Elegant Butterfly Punch and Bitty Butterfly Punch. For this beautiful little border there, I used that from the Tin of Cards stamp set. And for my greeting, I used the August Paper Pumpkin. I love, love, love that greeting there with that scrolly font. And it's the perfect with sympathy. And I punched that out with the decorative label punch. Our next card uses this fabulous green dots, which again, great for a man card. It's in Old Olive. And then the opposite side are these beautiful like flowers or twigs or a combination of both of those. But I went for the man card look, and so I actually used a piece of 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches for this card. And then again, I took some of my scraps and some of those like fun bright colors, Real Red, Daffodil Delight, Old Olive, and Pacific Point, and punched various circles there and then just layered those. This greeting is from the Tin of Cards stamp set, and then I thought it looked a little plain, so I took my basic black marker and just added that stitching, and I really feel like it made those circles pop and look so fabulous. So I really like how that one turned out after I added that little stitching line there. You can only get 1 of these samples out of each of the piece of paper, but again, you have so many ways that you can use those scraps. So I'll get to that. The next one uses this beautiful flower, which is like a black background with a calypso coral flower and some old olive twigs. The back side is that green old olive scallop, very similar to the Pacific Point scallop that we saw earlier. And here is the sample. This sample actually uses both the front and the back. You'll see here's the flowers, and that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then there's this little strip here that is 3 3/4 by 1 inch. So you can get 1 of these out of the card, and this uses that little extra piece along the top. So that's one of the ways that you can use your scraps as well with those leftover pieces. I used the Tin of Cards greeting with a circle punch, and I layered it on a scallop circle punch. And then I also used a little bit of that calypso coral seam binding there. Our next one, we have this fabulous polka dot. So it's like a vanilla background with little dots, little black polka dots all over. And then the back side are these beautiful calypso coral flowers, again with some of that greenery, but this is on white rather than on black. And I decided to use the flowers because you know how I love my flowers. So here is the card. This one uses a piece of the paper measuring 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And then I used the deco labels here for my greeting and the Tin of Cards greetings, or the stamp set for my greeting, happy birthday. And then the little flower here is from the Petite Petals punch with a little pearl accent that I thought was just absolutely fabulous. And then here for a little bit of bling, I used some of the Gold Baker's twine just to add a little shimmer and bling to that and kind of fancy it up just a little. The next one is this fabulous Calypso Coral stripe. We saw it in Pacific Point earlier, and so now it's in Calypso Coral. And then the back side is the mint macaron with some little flowers and twigs there. I used the coral stripes for my card here. This one uses a piece of the Designer Series paper measuring 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I used the watercolor wings stamp set to create that beautiful butterfly there. And then the greeting is also from Watercolor Wings, and I used just a piece of the Lots of label. So I turned it sideways and cut it off, and then just used a piece of it. So that's a great way to use one of your framelits or your punches in a different way by kind of cutting it off there at the top. And then of course I added those pearls after I cut out my butterfly with the bold butterfly framelits. The next one has this awesome blue background with those flowers, which are like, they almost look like fish eyes or something. What do you think? Leave me a comment down below what you think, but I think of fish eyes when I see that flower there. And then of course there's this mint macaron background of just kind of like a twig all over. So I decided to use both of those for this card. So I actually cut the piece of Designer Series paper 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then I cut it at the 3 inch mark. So I used this piece down here is this side, and it measures 4 by 3, and then the top side is 2 1/4 by 4. So I just went ahead and cut the same size that I used for a lot of the other ones, but then cut it at the 3-inch mark. And then right there on that overlap, I just put some of our mint macaron lace trim, and the greeting is from the One Big Meaning stamp set, and I just stamped it directly onto that designer series paper. So you could always pop that up with a little greeting popped on a punch or a framelit as well. The next paper is this fabulous butterfly paper. It's a black background, but then the butterflies are in lots of the colors: Old Olive, Pacific Point, mint macaron, and calypso coral. And then the back side is just all these dots in the calypso coral. I used the butterflies for this one, and so my piece of designer series paper measures 2 inches by 5 1/2, and you can get 3 of these out of just one sheet, so you can get 12 out of all 4 of the sheets. And that little trim there was done by the Tin of Cards, but then the greeting is from the lovely Amazing You stamp set, and then I used those same butterflies that I used in that other one, the Elegant Butterfly Punch and the Bitty Butterfly Punch for that. The next one has this awesome green background. Earlier we saw it in mint macaron, now we're seeing it in the Old Olive. And then the back side is this fabulous flower pattern. Believe it or not, I went with the green background, not the flower pattern. So here I came up with this really simple card here. It has the designer series paper measuring 2 inches by 5 1/2, and you can get 3 of these out of one sheet. I used that little trim there and the greeting from the Tin of Cards stamp set, and I punched it out with the decorative label punch. Our last one here is some basic black with the polka dots there, and then of course the other side is some beautiful flowers. They're a little bit farther spaced apart. Believe it or not, again, I didn't use the flowers, I used the black polka dot, and that is this one here. Oh, upside down. So I actually used the black polka dot piece, and that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I stamped the greeting from the Tin of Cards stamp set onto a lots of label that I cut out with the framelits. And then the little flowers are from the Flower Shop stamp set with the coordinating pansy punch to punch those out, and then a few pearls on each one. So I think that's super cute. I love that black and white with a pop of color. That's so my favorite. So now, after making all of those cards, because you can get 68 cards out of all of those that I just showed you if you made multiples with the 4 sheets that come in the pack. And then with all the scraps, you have all of these pieces here. Oh, it's stuck to my plastic. So then you have all of these leftover pieces. So of course a lot of these pieces will be used for other samples that you can do, but then all of your little pieces, when you get down to just those last few, you can then create this quilt look. So just take those strips, and it doesn't matter. I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock, but you could always use any color of cardstock that matches all of these, measuring 4 inches, or yes, 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then just start wherever you want. Just, you know, you could start here, you could start here, anywhere you want. Just start layering them, and then that is your pivot point. So then the next ones go this way, and then these will come this way, and then these will go this way. So like all of these pieces, I'll just take a piece, which I actually don't really want the blue. I thought this one I would go with all of those little corals and stuff. So let me get another piece here. So this piece here, ooh, I really like the green too, but I think I'm gonna go with the black flowers. Just gonna add a little bit of adhesive, and then I'm just going to add this on there. And again, you can then trim off all of, well, I added a little too much of adhesive to some of these. So all of these little pieces can be reused, and I can still trim this off and use them in all of these leftover spots as well. So all of those little leftover scrap pieces can go to make a beautiful quilt card just like this. So you can get so many more cards out of all of this and actually use up every little scrap of your designer series paper pack. So again, this is the Pretty Petals designer series paper pack, and here's all of those fabulous patterns one more time. And I was able to create over 68 cards because I got 68 out of all of the regular cards I made, and then with all the scraps you can create all of these and you can get oodles and oodles more. So for sure over 70 cards out of one little 6x6 designer series paper pack. How fabulous is that? I love it. Don't forget to check out my blog, laurastamppad.com, where I'll have all the pictures of all of these cards as well as the write-up of what I used for them and all of the measurements. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.